Step 2 of the 7-step service acquisition process, review the current strategy, focuses on establishing a good baseline of current performance that will help in planning for your new acquisition. One of the first things you do is to identify initiatives or actions that are currently underway within your organization that will have impact on this requirement. Ask yourself the following questions. Are functions within your organization being consolidated? Are future requirements being insourced? What impact will this have on your new requirement? Next, you must identify all existing contracts that relate to this acquisition. It is important to understand whether your current contract performance is meeting your customers' and stakeholders' needs. What are their performance issues? What problems have you dealt with in the past 2, 3, or 5 years while the existing contract has been in effect? Is it meeting cost, schedule, and performance requirements? All programs have risks associated with them. You need to identify these risks and analyze them. Risk identification and analysis continues throughout the service acquisition process. Ascertain the risks in terms of cost, schedule, and performance that have been a problem in the past. Then you must establish how you will use this analysis to help shape your new requirement. You need to document the current process in terms of how the service is being provided, how you are evaluating the performance of the present contractor. Are your processes effective? Are they meeting customer needs? Once you've answered these questions, you must establish what you need to change to make the new business arrangement more effective. It is important to determine the status of the government-furnished property or equipment, GFP or GFE, and facilities that the current contractor is using. Ensure that all equipment and property is accounted for. Determine if it is functional or obsolete. Does the new effort still require this property or equipment? If the GFE or the government facilities are going to be provided to the new contractor, you must make sure you clearly identify these specifics. From your stakeholder analysis conducted in Step 1 that established who the stakeholders are and what influence and importance they hold, you need to go interview these stakeholders to identify their expectations. Your stakeholders will know what changes are coming that may impact their mission need. They can also provide scoping information in the terms of potential increases or decreases in the amount of services required. They can also inform you of changes that will be needed to support future mission objectives. This knowledge is important. It will help you plan for how much flexibility you will need to have in your new requirement document and resulting contract. It is a key element in the analysis for choosing a proper contracting approach. You also need to review the current strategy and regulatory requirements. Consult your legal counsel for this. Have the requirements changed since your contract was put in place last? Do you know the approval levels for this acquisition? What impact will these approval levels have on your project schedule? You must identify your organization's approval thresholds, timelines, and formats and incorporate them into your program plan schedule. After talking with your stakeholders and developing a good understanding of their key outcomes and objectives, you will be better prepared to define the high-level results that must be achieved to meet their mission requirements. These are strategic outcomes that provide your vision and mission, which directly impact your stakeholders. Now that you've gathered a view of the current situation, discuss your findings of current performance issues with your stakeholders. Present to your stakeholders your team's assessment of the expected high-level outcomes. Make sure that the team's expectations are aligned to adequately support your stakeholders and user mission results. Next, you need to validate these results with your stakeholders. These discussions with your stakeholders and users will help your team refine the critical performance results required. These high-level results will translate into performance objectives and standards later in the process. It is very important to understand how the stakeholders prioritize the performance results or outcomes needed in order to align your actions with the stakeholders' expectations. By successfully completing these actions in Step 2, you will ensure that the requirements document your team develops and the supporting acquisition strategy is clearly focused on supporting your stakeholders' current and future mission needs.